Last time we reviewed three-digit subtraction, and we reviewed the proof model, expanded method, and ungroup first strategies. Today, we will review three-digit subtraction and what happens when we have two zeros. For example, in 500 minus 247 equals something, the biggest number, 500, has two zeros. Sometimes this can be tricky because we have to make a lot of changes to the number 500 to make it friendly to subtract 247. Let's take a look how we could solve this with the proof model method. The first thing I need to do is represent the number 500 by drawing my 500s boxes. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Now I want to start subtracting or taking away 247. Every time we do subtraction, we start by taking away the ones first. When I look at my drawing of 500 though, I'm noticing that there's no ones here for me to take away. So I need to make an exchange or a trade. The only thing I have here to trade are hundreds. Now, I'm not going to trade 100 for 100 ones because that's just not efficient. I don't want to draw out 100 ones, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So what I'm going to do is make a trade for tens first. I cross out 100 and I trade it for 10 tens because I know 100 has the same value as 10 tens. All I am doing is representing that 100 in a different way. Here I've drawn it with a box, and here I've drawn 100 with sticks. Both of these are the same amount. Now I can go ahead and make another trade for a 10 for ones. We know that 110 is the same as 10 ones. Again, I'm not getting rid of this 10, I'm just drawing it in a different way. I'm drawing it as 10 ones. If I count up everything that I have represented here, I will still have 500. 100, 200, 300, 400, 410, 420, 430, 440, 450, 460, 470, 480, 490, 500. So I've still represented 500. I'm just showing it in a different way with hundreds, tens, and ones. Now I can start to subtract the ones. I want to take away 7 ones, so I'll cross out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ones to leave 3 ones. So I've subtracted my ones place. Now I can subtract my tens. That's another reason that we wanted to make sure that we made the trade from hundreds to tens first, because we're also going to need to subtract some tens. So I'll cross out 4 10 sticks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, this one that I traded in doesn't count because I've already subtracted those ones. So this here, all I did was redraw it in a different way. I still have to subtract 4 10 sticks. I've subtracted my tens, now I can subtract my hundreds. I have 2 hundreds that I'm taking away, so I'm going to cross out 2 boxes, 1, 2. Now I look and see what I have left to find my final answer. I have 3 ones, 5 tens, and 2 hundreds, so I have 253. Let's see what this looks like with the expanded method. With the expanded method, I'm writing my problem vertically. Then I'm going to stretch out each number. 500 is the same as 500 plus 0 plus 0. There's nothing in the tens or ones place, so I'm just putting zeros as placeholders for now. 247 is the same as 200 plus 40 plus 7. I stretched out the number by each value in each place. Now I can subtract. Again, I want to start with my ones, but you'll notice that I have a 0 on top and 7 on the bottom. I can't subtract 7 from 0. 0 minus 7 would be a negative number, and that's not how this works. So I'm going to need to go next door to borrow something. But when I get next door, I see that there's nothing there for me to take because there's a 0. So I have to go all the way to the hundredths place and make a change there. I'm going to borrow 100 from the hundredths place. So I'm leaving 400 behind and bringing 100 back with me to the tens place. But I'm not done yet because remember, I want to subtract my ones first. So I'm going to cross out this 100 and I'm going to take 10 with me to the ones place. So I left behind a value of 90. 100 minus 10 equals 90. I'm only taking 10 with me because all I really need here are 10 ones. 10 minus 7 equals 3. 90 minus 40 equals 50. And 400 minus 200 equals 200. My final answer again is 253. Let's look at this same problem with ungroup first. We know the ungroup first method is the most efficient. That means it's the fastest and usually the one with the least amount of mistakes. So this would be a really good one for you to practice today. 500 minus 247, I'm writing it vertically and I'm making sure that I've lined up my ones, tens, and hundreds place. Again, I start in the ones place and I see that there's more on the floor, so I know I need to go next door. But when I get next door, there's nothing there for me to borrow or trade, so I need to go to the hundreds place. Right now I have 5 hundreds, so I'm going to borrow 100, leaving 4 hundreds behind. When I take 100 to the tens place, I know that 100 is the same as 10 tens. But again, I can't stop here. I need to keep going to the ones place. So I'm going to cross out my 10 tens and leave 9 tens, taking 1 10 with me to the ones place because 1 10 is the same as 10 ones. Remember, each place represents a different value. So here, I've redrawn 500 or re-represented 500 as 4 hundreds, 9 tens, and 10 ones, just like I did in the proof model. Now I can subtract. 10 minus 7 equals 3, 9 minus 4 equals 5, and 4 minus 2 equals 2. My answer is still 253. After you solve a few problems with zeros, you're going to be challenged to solve a problem with 1,000. Solve a few problems with 1,000 actually. Let's review how we would use ungroup first to solve. There's this red line here, but we're just going to ignore that for now. I'm sure it has a purpose. Again, I want to draw my problem vertically, and I want to be really careful to line up my ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands place. So I know that 362 does not have 1,000 in it, so there shouldn't be anything here under the thousands place for this number. Okay, so again, I want to start with my ones place. I have more on the floor, so I need to go next door. But next door, there's a 0, so I need to go next door again to the hundreds place. But in the hundreds place, there's a 0, so I need to go to the thousands place. I only have 1,000, but I need to bring that with me to the hundreds place. So I'm leaving behind no thousands. I leave a 0. 1,000 is the same as 10 hundreds. So I put a 10 in my hundreds place to represent 1,000 in a different way. Now I need to keep making trades. So I'm going to cross out my 10 hundreds and leave 9 hundreds there and take 100 with me to the tens place. We know that 100 is the same as 10 tens. Again, I'm going to borrow a 10, so I'm going to cross out this 10 and leave 9 tens because 10 tens minus 1 10 is 9 tens. 1 10 is the same as 10 ones, so that's what I have in the ones place. Now I am finally ready to subtract. Remember, I haven't actually taken anything away yet. I just showed 1,000 in a different way. I represented 1,000 here as 9 hundreds, 9 tens, and 10 ones. So 900 plus 90 plus 10 is the same as 1,000. Now I can subtract. 10 minus 2 is 8, 9 minus 6 is 3, and 9 minus 3 is 6. I have nothing left in the thousands place, so I don't need to subtract that. My final answer is 638. Make sure you write super neatly today. You're going to be doing a lot of crossing out and borrowing. You want to make sure you give yourself enough room to make these cross out changes and write on top of them. If you need to rewrite any of the problems on a different sheet of paper to give yourself enough space to do this, that is a great idea. Good luck and have fun.